will ban straight away the Phobias, the Gord, and the Harley. On the other side, Kazakhstan, the Marcel, and the Paquito. A little bit more generic bans coming off the table.
Yeah, I think the non-generic ones that really jumped up to me is the
Harley,
the Gord and the Harley as well. They really don't want to see these mid laners, perhaps. That could be a hint. So which means that this also opens up to a lot of avenues, right? Of course, Juicing first pick, right?
Juicing first pick. Yeah, there's still the option for the KAZ as well. We've seen that highly prioritized by a lot of teams. And I would say the Claude will be prioritized a little bit more than the Harleys, unless you want to dominate your lane.
You talk about Claude, Kazakhstan is not thinking about that as well. Locking in the Harif in the R2 pick. Usually that's where I expect a Harif R2 pick. But that means that, you know, you immediately see that Kazakhstan is thinking about, hey, I'm going to go early, I want to dominate, maybe drop something else like, okay, Khalid, exactly. This feels more at home.
Yeah, this feels more like, hey, I will play a bit more aggressive. I'm going to use this in the early game. And Kazakhstan looking like an aggressive lineup from the get-go. On the other side of the table, there's the high priority Claude that we're talking about. And the Leomord, a little bit more gap closer in that respect.
Yeah, so it feels like, you know, ladies and gents, Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan actually follows quite a similar meta that we are very familiar with, especially, you know, take referencing from Group A as well as other groups as well. So don't expect, we haven't expect anything weird. If you want to really do something weird, it's usually the R5 pick or usually the B4, B5 pick. But so far, it has been standard so far.
You know, we in the previous game, there was a lot of discussions between us on anti-dive compositions, and a lot of teams were starting to pick up the Ballaricks, the Atlases. If you dive me, I will reposition yourself, I'll use ultimates onto you. And again, with the familiarity, the Suyo actually comes back online.
Okay, but at the very least, that's Kazakhstan going in for a previous meta, at the very least, right? I would say that Khalid, I think there's not a lot of adjustments to him, so he's still technically valid in this particular patch. The wave clear, especially that helps you in the mid lane, is really invaluable right here. But now, because Kyrgyzstan has already selected a Juicing, so they can start banning away like the likes of Eve, the likes even to a certain extent the Farsa as well if they really want to go for that. Valentina doesn't look very juicy for the side of Kazakhstan because, you know, you've got Leomord, you've got Juicing D side, not the ultimates that you should be stealing.
Yeah, for Kazakhstan though, and we talked about the Belarus, it's being banned out by Kazakhstan. You don't want the anti-dive composition coming your way. But for Kazakhstan though, the trend that I'm really seeing is hyper early game. If they really want to throw everything on the early game, then the Lilia would definitely be top of priority for them. At least you are able to win out that juice and push her back and start that aggressive engage. The Zetian as well has a lot of late game potential. The issue is, speaking of late game, Kazakhstan doesn't really have any insurance right now.
Yep, definitely. They're going all in the early game, right? Suyo, Harif, and Khalid, these are strong early game, albeit, you know, Suyo falls off heavily towards the later parts of the game, unless you're able to get a Sky Piercer snowball going as well. So that's something that, you know, Kazakhstan is looking for. Kyrgyzstan, on the other hand, these are scaling comps that you're looking for. Claude, Leomord, and Juicing, expect them to draft something more of a early game EXP laner. And speaking about early game EXP laner, Kazakhstan, man, they're going guns blazing right here. They're going for the Yuchong as well.
They're going guns blazing. I just want to bring up as well, Kyrgyzstan actually got one game off of Uzbekistan, which is pretty much the second seed. So consider it a close game for both these two teams. We haven't seen how their execution is for now, but looking at the draft, Kazakhstan going all hams, like you said, on the aggressiveness, on the early game, but they are on a timer. So if they are unable to secure the early game, take control of the land of Dawn, then the late game definitely going in the hands of Kyrgyzstan, which picked up Alice for themselves.
Dude, Kyrgyzstan is going full-on scaling, right? Alice towards the later part, early game does not really have a lot of priority. Leomord as well, Claude. The early game priority only comes in the form of Hilda. So I expect, you know, the first turtle should be leaning towards the side of Kazakhstan, but second and third turtle, that's where, you know, Kyrgyzstan really shines. Kazakhstan, on the other hand, yep, you're right. They really go all in the early to mid game part. Right now, they're looking at a mid. If you're looking to basically have some form of late game insurance, looking at scaling mid, my money is on Kimmy.
Fair.
Shred through Alice, shred through Hilda, repositions, kites the Leomord.
At least you have some form of additional magic damage once the Harith falls off of that scale. And you do have some non-committal kind of ultimates that you can use with the Traction Pulse as well.
Pseudo-marksman as well, right? So at the very least, there's some pushing power for the side of the mid at the same time. There we go.
Like you said, the Kimmy will come into play. The issue is, in the late game, they don't really have a lot of physical damage, which is easier for Kyrgyzstan to build upon.
Yep. The Kimmy in the early game definitely does have a lot of pushing power against the Juicing as well, right? Like, I think in this particular patch, you clear faster as compared to a Juicing.
Yes.
Especially ever since Juicing has the mana thing coming back as well. That's a really sad day for Juicing players. But at the very least, you know, Juicing does have the ability to pick somebody up and then throw them aside. If you look at the side of Kazakhstan, the main target you're definitely going to throw away is definitely going to be the Khalid and Khalid only, because by the time the Yuzhong start jumping onto the Juicing already, it may be a little bit too late, because the Yuzhong definitely packs the Petrify, yep, and also the Black Dragon form.
Yeah, Justin is able to get out. It's highly mobile for Kyrgyzstan, but this is game number 1. Kyrgyzstan versus Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan will be in the red, Kyrgyzstan on the blue. And in the draft, we talked a little bit about Kyrgyzstan having the priority in the early game only on the Hilda. How does that work out against a Khalid, knowing that, hey, you know, most roams like to mirror each other's movements?
I feel like in terms of sustainability, the burst sustainability coming out from the Khalid is definitely that could be try to throw off the Hilda, right? But of course, you know, if you talk about wave clear, the Khalid is definitely a lot better. You pack that with Khalid, the Kimi as well, you're able to match the rotations of the mid duels even faster. Now, at the very least, from what I'm seeing, especially during the split screen, Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, they are, well, keeping up with the times. They subscribe to the latest news. Yeah,
for Kyrgyzstan, they are very excellent in buying some time, especially with that Hilda and just annoying giving vision on that top side. But hold on a second, right here, there's a stun over onto that Juicing, able to dash out of there and keep himself safe for now. There's a Petrify already stopped. Down goes that Hilda. There's a 4-man engage on Kazakhstan. The aggression really showing is through.
And this is exactly what I was talking about, right? Early game versus late game, right? Early game comp versus scaling comp. Kazakhstan is on that scaling comp. I think they're not expecting, you know, Mamilin to really join the fight earlier just now, and Shikenov at this particular time doesn't really pack a lot of damage. So yeah, I think it's just Kyrgyzstan overextending just a little bit, and Kazakhstan, this is a great start for them.
It's really speed run, and the entire roster just shout speed run. They really need to start the early game rotation. Speaking of rotation, that top side, Kyrgyzstan already got his eyes set on that dragon, taking him down. Namalin goes down, and Kyrgyzstan buys himself some time. Kusupov is around the vicinity, will be able to skirt out, but pulls back by the pepper spray. Just one more hit, will not be able to finish it. He lives with a pixel.
Yeah, Kusupov right there, just going through. I'm not too sure what happened. Even burned the flicker as well. So which means that, you know, Kyrgyzstan has a better turtle. In fact, don't forget, I was the one that said Kazakhstan should have this turtle first, but Kyrgyzstan, because of their hyper aggression earlier just now, was able to push Sreang away. They take the turtle, but it feels like a non-stop fight, Churros.
Speaking of aggression, they're going straight for the Hilda. The dragon will chase that down.
You're not giving the color caster any time to really break things down, because it's really just a lot of fights happening over and over again. But Kazakhstan, you know, at the very least, compensated for the turtle by picking up a kill from the side of Kyrgyzstan.
Kazakhstan is definitely on a timer. Definitely, you don't want to breathe in early game, because if Kyrgyzstan gets enough time, they will scale. Kalbayev will scale, the Claude will scale as well. So this will be a really interesting way of how Kazakhstan comes back from that first objective loss.
Yeah, I like the fact that the observer is also having a bit of difficulty. So many action happening one after another for the past of at least sub 3 minutes, right? And this is the only time we get to see the emblems just a little bit more.
You get that lane proxy from the Alice as well.
I mean, Alice is okay to lane proxy, right? There's no point, you know, facing a Yuzhong right there and then. Alice at this point in time is also pretty interesting. It's very hard for her to proxy the wave, because, you know, when you go into the jungle, you don't really have a lot of targets to really absorb and be sustainable, right? You got a saving grace with your first skill to be able to just jump away, but that's just about it. But information is still given over the side of Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah, I think this Alice is definitely, Shekinov is doing a really good job trying to delay Sarek's farm and trying to push Namalon back so that he doesn't join into these major team fights. This is his first Skypiercer already bought by Salamat, which is going to be scary for Kyrgyzstan later on.
Definitely feeling a lot thankful for that one, Salamat. But of course, you know, the Skypiercer is a massive boon over the side of Kimi. As long as it constantly lands, it constantly checks whether you're hitting that threshold, and then after that, you know, you're just going to pop.
It's on the top side, Shekinov just being such a nuisance on that top lane. Kalbayev already there in the vicinity, pushing that dragon back, will not be able to join in this turtle fight. But in the bush, that's an ambush that we're talking about. Kazakhstan with the high damage in the early game will take down one. Going in for another. There's a TOR on the backside. Sarek will be zoned back off and buying Kyrgyzstan sometimes get back. That's Petrify underneath the turret. They go. Mamelin with 1 kill.
Kazakhstan has really scaled literally from that one. I think 3 to 4 members from the side of Kyrgyzstan lost his life. Easy access over the side of Kazakhstan for the turtle.
They're going in for more. Someone had already used up that
Petrify.
That might not be it. Dropped down a flicker. Oh, so committed. It's not giving up without that kill.
Yeah, flicker for flicker right now. This is absolutely high octane gameplay between these two teams. It feels like Kyrgyzstan is already at gear number 5 at the very least, but Kazakhstan, I think they need to go faster. They need to go gear 6. At the very least, they are able to salvage to pick up the first turtle and also a couple of kills. That could potentially help the side of Kazakhstan, but they still need more. By this time, you're at 5 minutes mark, you really need to have, what, at least 3 to 4 K gold lead to ensure your dominance, because Kyrgyzstan is on the scaling composition.
Speaking of which, they're almost halfway there. There's 2K gold lead for Kazakhstan. If they can keep Kyrgyzstan at bay and start that rotation, you see Harith already moving up into the mid lane, trying to text that wave. Salamat already also have that Sky Piercer. So let's break down that team fight.
Yeah, it's just the Jusin getting a lot of trouble right here. I think Chanel, the Alice dives all the way backline at least. It keeps Sreang very busy, but it feels like the whole attention is shifting over the side of Salamat, right? Salamat, you know, having onto the Sky Piercer, I think after that sequence, after that replay, he actually dove a little bit too deep, hoping to basically end the life, get another Sky Piercer stack, but to no avail, right? Now he's going to get shut down just a little bit. But this is the kind of roster from the side of Kazakhstan, right? You need to build. Okay, hold on.
There's the Zane Force already popped up. That is the TOR. Landing on 3. The Babil will come their way, but might not be enough to take down all 3. That's the heal coming in from that Khalid. Will not be enough to take him as the Claw comes over from that flank.
Yeah, 2 members going down though, and this is where, you know, if you're playing a Harith, right, you're afraid of this Alice. Your TOR, the TOR from the Alice literally comes as what you want to do, right? Zaman Force, you want to zip around, get pseudo shields, do a damage, at the same time be more sustainable. Now back to the Sky Piercer theory between Salamat and Sreang, right? Sreang and Salamat relies heavily, Sreang relies more heavily on the Sky Piercers compared to Salamat, but now because Salamat also picked up the Sky Piercer, Sreang also picked up the Sky Piercer, those stacks needs to go somewhere.
Speaking of which, the stacks will build for Salamat themselves, and they're leading up with another engage. Down to the Hilda, and the Tri-Bush they go. Kazakhstan not giving Kyrgyzstan any time to breathe. And also, I just want to say and point out, Kimmy might be the best mid lane, or it's got utility, it's got damage, it's got scalability potential, but it's very, very greedy.
Yeah, very squishy as well, right? But if you noticed, good itemization for the side Sreang has to pass the Sky Piercer's torch over to the side of Salamat, right? But that also means that if you're a Suyo that doesn't have a Sky Piercer, your execution, your second skill doesn't look very scary anymore. So that's something that, you know, Kazakhstan needs to be careful about.
Taking a lot of damage. Kisipov will be able to skirt his way out of there as Kazakhstan tries to switch things up. They're playing as a 3-men now. They do have a lot more damage than Kyrgyzstan. 5K gold lead, which is what you're talking about, Jace. Kazakhstan has that lead. Now it is whether or not they can hold on. T1 up top is already broken through. Sreang is trying to split up that wave, trying to split the heads of Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a very good defense coming up from Kyrgyzstan so far, but hold on,
that is going to be the stun, but will not be enough to take down this Jusin. I think Purify.
Yeah, that's also a Purify, right? So for the next 80 seconds, Merbakov will be a sitting duck for now. But so far, I like what I'm seeing from Kazakhstan. You know, like what I mentioned, the 5K gold lead, the top side and bottom side already cracked open.
And ambush over onto that Claw. Will use that BMI to get out safe. As Kazakhstan is everywhere on this map, taking full control. Kyrgyzstan nowhere safe.
Yeah, this 4-1 split that Kazakhstan is adopting is great because not only just the fact that, you know, they're trying to split Kyrgyzstan's apart, and after that, you know, Kazakhstan has the better rotation because they've got a Khalid, they've also got a Yuzhong that can just rotate and be there as quickly as possible. But golden staff secured by the side of this Claw for the side of Kyrgyzstan. So Kazakhstan needs to really ramp up the aggression. Split, push, side lanes, force a lot of pressure, and then after that push down mid, but there's a lot for Kazakhstan to take.
All this time, Kyrgyzstan sending Claw down the bottom side, just free farming. Municipal is already in the midst of all of that. There's a TOR onto 2 members only. Kazakhstan's damage is proving to be too much to handle. Chikhanov trying to buy some time, but Kazakhstan's taking the fight over to Kyrgyzstan. They're taking one after another. Ultimates all popped up, and Kazakhstan, they are able to secure that Lord for themselves and push Kyrgyzstan back.
A double whammy coming up the side of Kazakhstan. Take a Lord and also take Chikhanov down as well. Not only just that, Salama was the one that credited that kill as well. Okay, you gotta have to get out of there. If not, all that Sky Piercer stack would be gone. But I echo that if you know this from the side of Kyrgyzstan, I hope we get to see a replay right there. Shekhanov is able to find a TOR, but it doesn't land on the key targets. It was a little bit too shallow, and that means that, you know, the Claw wasn't able to find an entry point to go all the way in. At this point, I feel like if you're that Claw, you're afraid of the burst damage coming up on the Harith, and also Sreang as well. You need to go for that Windsor Crown ASAP.
There's so much burst also. There's so much DOT coming in from the Kimi. There's so much burst coming in from Akambayev. And so Kazakhstan has stood up all the slots that they need. They have that speed, they have the advantage. Will they be able to hold on that 7K gold lead that Kazakhstan has? If they commit too much underneath the turret, that's a huge mistake that they don't want to make.
Look, the gold lead, that Lord actually gave 2K gold lead more over the side of Kazakhstan. Not only just that, Salamat also has another Sky Piercer stack, but Merbakov will also respond with the same.
Great intellect from Kazakhstan underneath the purple buff. They go. They will secure that one and a kill for themselves. Not enough time for the TOR to pop up. But Oscar Bayev trying to find some time on the backline, trying to take down Solomon. But the Sky Piercer stacks keep growing strong.
Not only just that, I feel like Kyrgyzstan needs to really start engaging Claw because the Claw is not able to use Blazing Duet for the past 2 team fights.
Way too deep in though. Kazakhstan tries to force the situation. Will be able to back off just in time. There's a discipline coming up from Kazakhstan. They have that lead. They have the early game. They have the damage. They have the aggression. But it's all controlled.
Yeah, if you talk about gold lead, it's leaning over to the favorite side of Kazakhstan. That's 9k gold lead. But don't forget, with Salamat right there, it feels like a weather forecast, right? Like, actual temperature is 31 degrees, but it feels like 40. The fact is, because of these team fights as well, and if you notice how Zemi Break wasn't able to find a good BMI, has no choice but to let Askabarov to Bekov to go all the way too far, overextend, and then after that just crumbles, right? Now that 9k gold lead from the side of Kazakhstan feels like a 15k gold lead because of Salamat's Sky Piercer stacks.
Not only that, they're always grouped together as 5, and they're so mobile around the map. They're playing the macro game, they're playing the micro game, they're playing the best team fight that I've seen for these two teams, and they're still leading and controlling the objectives all around this. Kyrgyzstan has no way to break past through the jungles.
Yeah, and it's difficult, right, for the side of Kyrgyzstan, right? I felt like Oscar wants to really dive onto.
Bayov taking a lot of damage. That's Barfield getting called on. Mamelin getting pulled in. The Dragon will be taken down, but here's the Demon Force for additional damage. That is the stun! A 4-man stun. Kazakhstan will take down 2 for themselves.
Yeah, the Raging Sandstorm coming in for the side of Pop was amazing. And Salamat follows up with the Traction Pulse as well. 2 men going down, but Bekov is the one that picks up the Sky Piercer stack at the same time. And once again, the Quad cannot find an engagement. And so is the Leomord for the side of Kyrgyzstan. This is a big problem against Kazakhstan right now.
Look how fast they took down the second lord of the game as well. Kyrgyzstan just playing catch up all the way through. Let's take a look at the replay. This is just amazing coming up from Kazakhstan to turn around that battle.
The Leomord was there, activating the ultimate, but if you notice, the Claw was trying to kite backwards, but there's way too much stun from the side of Kozepov, and also the Salamat Traction Pulse. It's making the Claw very difficult to really engage. Once again, I feel like this is a time where Kyrgyzstan, for the Claw, you need to get a Winter Crown. If not, you're just going to get melted down. The amount of the utility that you get from the Winter Crown with the Blazing Duet, perhaps and potentially is the one that could turn around this game. Even though Salamat is a hard-hitting Kimi, he's still squishy in the end of the day.
All 3 waves, all pushing through.
Wow,
Lord down the middle. In Kazakhstan, they're looking for an angle of engage, looking for an angle of approach, but all of them, they're so high middle. If they dive, Kyrgyzstan can easily counter-dive. They have a lot of anti-engage potential.
Good defense for now. That was a 3-wave sync. Well done by the side of Kazakhstan, but Kyrgyzstan got away with, at the very least, mid lane turret open. But mid lane turret is also very painful, right? Because that's the shortest lane. Kazakhstan right now still leading charge. Speaking of charging,
there's the Dragon starting things off. Zoning out that backline. They want to take down that T3, but this is a lot of damage.
Where's the Duet?
There's Salama just free hitting on the backside. The Sky Piercer stacks coming in through. The TOR will do nothing at all. As Kyrgyzstan fall one after another.
Finally.
There is the minions coming through. Kazakhstan just wants to end this, and right now.
Oh. Man, good job coming on the side Kazakhstan. They really exploded out of control. Remember what I said, 5k goalie is what they need, and after that they just take the money bags and just whack it against Kyrgyzstan over and over and over again because, you know, Salamat on this Kimi has scaled, has maximum stacks, Sreang is